A day doesn't go by without a random company sliding into my DMs asking me to promote their garbage products. While most of these sponsors are VPNs, mobile games, or budget gaming furniture stores, sometimes there'll be something especially funny, like a crypto company. Now, if they're reaching out to me, then there's a good chance that they haven't watched any of my videos, and they actually think that I'm some sort of crypto influencer who will say anything as long as the price is right. Or, on the other hand, maybe they do know who I am, and they think that they can legitimately win me over and become my favorite crypto game. Either way, allow me to tell you the story of the time a crypto game offered to pay me $500 to review their game. It all started just a couple days ago, actually, when I received an unsolicited message on Twitter from an account called Animate. Our exchange went a little like this.
Hey, how are you? We love your content and would love to work with you. It's possible to explore possibilities of collaborating? Looking forward to your reply. Smiley face.
I responded with, "Sure, what do I have to do?"
Maybe to create some cool content about our game, talking about our NFTs.
Yeah, I could probably do something.
How much, considering that we can also give you free NFTs?
I don't know, $500?
Sure, but it needs to be a top quality review.
A top quality review? What does that mean?
Our team wants to say that it will be a top quality review. We just shared it with our core team and they are excited to work with you. How we can start, what you will need from us.
Okay. Do you have a contract signed so I can guarantee that I get paid?
We don't usually do contracts. Content creators we pay usually create videos on their own terms after our discussions on Twitter. Great, sounds good. Best will be to showcase a game and how loot boxes works.
Well, after taking a brief look at their game, I was so impressed that I offered to review it free of charge. Besides, I've got principles or whatever. You can't buy me. Our conversation then came to an end after they sent one final message.
How did you like the game?
It's perfect.
Give me $5, you can have whatever. Oh, it's getting a bit creamy up.
You're watching John.
Team-based hero shooter Citizen Conflict merges fast-paced gameplay with esports intensity for ultimate competitive action. This is the headline for the free-to-play MMO shooter game Citizen Conflict, developed by the Dubai-based company QORPO World. Join the esports evolution. Hey, wait a minute, I've seen this before. This is an almost direct copy of the intro cinematic from The Finals, which is an extremely popular early access game. Hey, you know what they say, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Scrolling down a bit on their website, we see the loot boxes section, because what crypto game would be complete without loot boxes? Let's take a look at the Season 0 loot boxes. Yeah, if you haven't guessed it already, this game is in alpha. Despite this, they've got absolutely no problem selling loot boxes or in-game items. But surprisingly, these are some of the most reasonably priced loot boxes I've seen in any crypto game, ranging from completely free to $1 in price. Except, well, the free loot boxes require you to pay a transaction fee to claim, and since I don't have any BNB coins, I guess no loot for me. In addition to the loot boxes, you can just straight up buy skins in the form of NFTs. However, I'd like to see some more detail as to what exactly I'm receiving should I purchase one of these, considering the price. Here's the description of a skin costing $555 on their store. Citizen Conflict Syndicate Heroes NFT collection empowers your experience with Citizen Conflict characters. Put your hands on the heroes and villains of Ether Islands and determine the future of their dystopian fates. Built with state-of-the-art 3D creation engines, NFTs by QORPO Game Studio merchant, basic designs with premium utilities. What? Anyway, this sure does seem like a whole lot of stuff to be selling for a game that's still in alpha, but hey, maybe the game's incredible. I haven't played it yet. Aside from offering a variety of methods for you to light money on fire, Citizen Conflict also prides itself as a leader in the future of esports. They boast the biggest prize pools on Web3, which, as it says below, is $10,000. But we already know from my previous video that Axie Infinity gives away almost $1 million in prizes every season, so that instantly disproves their claim of being the biggest. And lastly, they have a button at the top of their website labeled Token, which links to the page for their QORPO token. But I'll come back to this for the second half of the video because there's a whole lot to dive into here. Alright, let's pop open the Epic Game Store and give this game a try. I think I need to add a new bingo square for Lyra Asset Flip because I can already tell just by looking at the trailers what type of experience we're in for. In case you don't already know what Lyra is, it's the third-person shooter template game that comes with Unreal Engine, and this is probably the 15th crypto game I've seen that is nothing more than this exact same game with a new coat of paint. If you've ever watched any of my live streams, you probably remember the #1 rule when playing a crypto game. Turn your volume all the way down before launching the game. Citizen's Contract is no exception. The second you launch the game, your eardrums will be blown to pieces thanks to this intro cinematic.
What is this?
Check out those shards.
I got you.
You can totally craft with them and score some awesome skins.
Fuck! Shit!
It might be hit or miss,
Cheer up.
but you could snag some killer stuff.
Savage.
And if it ain't your vibe, trade it.
Oh yeah!
Own your game.
Citizen Conflict.
Well, it's definitely innovative. I've seen games that show ads for microtransactions every time you launch the game, but never one that has a splash screen cinematic just for loot boxes. After all, there's nothing a gamer loves more than purchasing cosmetics for a game they downloaded 9 seconds ago. Logging in was an absolute hassle, as the game kept failing to recognize that I was logged in my browser. I hate when games force you to log in this way, because in my experience, it's really finicky. I'd actually rather a dedicated launcher than this. So not only do we get a cinematic about loot boxes, but immediately after, we get a pop-up telling us to buy a battle pass. What the hell? Look at the description. Sniper rifle skin so you can aim more headshots, period, without a space. Sniper rifle skin so you can aim more headshots. And what's this at the top of the screen? Unlock battle pass. Shoots a hook where the player is aiming and pulls. Were the developers on crack when they made this? This is a diverse worlds level of quality, right off the bat. Citizen's Conflict is supposed to be a class-based shooter, I guess, and the loadout page shows us the 11 different playable characters. Yeah, these are some of the most uninteresting copy-paste character designs I think I've ever seen. I guess the game is supposed to have a cyberpunk theme, but the only character that really stands out is the guy with the smiley mask. Whatever happened to character designs with, distinct, recognizable silhouettes? Did we stop doing that? But not only do the characters have lovingly crafted models, they also come with enthralling, in-depth backstories. Allow me to read you the tale of Tunkus. Tunkus is a loner from southern hell. He hunts down every prey, his bullets never miss, since his family got stricken by a lurid twist of fate, Tunkus stealths far beyond the Outer Lands. He never talks first, but he always talks back. Delightful. Alright, that's enough poking around the main menu. Let's play the game already. Man, I'm really loving this intro animation. It looks 100% original and absolutely not copied at all from the finals. And would you look at that? As we expected, it's yet another Lyra asset flip. And believe it or not, the performance is terrible. At this point, I might as well just do a video reviewing the Lyra template itself. But Citizen's Conflict does teach a few tricks to this otherwise dead horse. Do you hate playing against people who are better than you? Fear not, because in Citizen Conflict, you will be the only human player online. This ensures that you can run, train, and stomp every lobby, since everyone but you is a bot. But bot is a generous term to describe these things. I think walking target is a better name. They're completely brain dead and frequently get lost, ignoring all enemies to instead just walk into the line of fire. But we got more for you. Are you tired of sucking at shooter games because you can't aim? Well, Citizen's Conflict puts all players on an even playing field, thanks to the game's deranged implementation of recoil. You've played Fortnite before, right? Well, in case you haven't, here's what the recoil looks like. And here's Citizen's Conflict. Aside from adding to your blur-induced motion sickness, this recoil results in half the guns being entirely unusable. Let's look at the shotgun, for example. Not only does it nearly fly out of your hands every time you shoot it, it deals less damage per shot than the assault rifle, making it pretty much useless even at point-blank range. This means that the best gun in the game is actually the pistol, as it has no recoil and deals the same damage as the assault rifle. But even with the pistol, you'll still find yourself frustrated as your shots fail to land due to the game's piss-poor hit registration. Aside from the different guns, each one of the game's 11 characters has 2 special abilities which can be activated by pressing the Q or F keys. My current character's special ability is the default dash ability that comes preloaded with the Lyra starter game. Nice. Some of these abilities don't work at all, or are just plain useless. And pretty much every ability is a direct copy of one found in another popular class-based shooter. You can put up a shield wall on the ground, you can place a turret, you can use a pistol that heals allies. Nothing new here. The game currently only has one playable game mode, which, to my surprise, is neither Battle Royale nor Extraction. Instead, it's a classic capture and hold the point game mode, except with 3 teams instead of 2. However, these matches will eventually just devolve into spawn camping madness. This is because the bots tend to completely ignore capturing the point, preferring to run headfirst into the enemy spawn instead. But you know how in most shooter games your spawn is walled off in some manner so you can't just get spawn camped? Well, if spawn protection bothers you too, then you're in luck, because Crypto Conflict has done away with this outdated game design concept entirely. Here, you can freely enter the team's spawn, where you can sit there as long as you like, killing the bots every time they respawn. As far as graphics go, this is your standard unoptimized Unreal Engine game. Go figure, motion blur is cranked up to the max and can't be disabled. Besides this, the game stutters like crazy, and it regularly falls below 60 FPS. While the characters have that cyberpunk aesthetic, they look extremely out of place in these realistic modern-era levels. I don't have the time or interest to pour through all the game's files figuring out which asset packs they used, if any, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they made all of this artwork from scratch. The map designs aren't terrible or anything, and the environments don't look half bad either. The biggest problem is just that this world really doesn't make any sense, considering that the players are all cyberpunk themed. This is just my theory, so take it with a grain of salt, but it almost seems like they were originally planning on making a Cyberpunk 2077 clone. But once the finals was announced, they aped that game's aesthetic and threw their existing cyberpunk player models into Lyra, creating this amalgamation we have today. Again, this is just a theory. Anyway, in general, the artwork is pretty to look at, but not interesting to play in. The characters don't have unique silhouettes, which in my opinion is essential for ability-based hero shooters. Also, the only thing differentiating teammates from enemies are their colored outlines, which can sometimes be tough to see. And lastly, your body falls through the level geometry about half of the times you die. Switching topics to the sound design, and, well, it's alright. The only thing that really stands out is the voice acting. The announcer voices aren't half bad. But the playable characters are all super generic. Zero creative energy was spent writing these lines, resulting in completely forgettable characters spewing stupid lines in a game that nobody is playing.
Cross your teeth, punks. Hey! Get fucked.
And that's pretty much all there is to say about the actual game of Cyber Citizens. It's kinda tough to give this game an honest chance, since everything about it just seems like an attempt to mimic whatever's popular at the moment. It's like the developers know what a successful game looks like, but they never learned why those games are successful. Citizens Conflict is basically the Voltron of bad crypto games. Derivative gameplay, horrible performance, 0 players, overpriced assets, and a sketchy development team, all combined into one. So, that was my review of Citizens Conflict, free of charge. But that's enough about the game, cause after all, when you're a crypto gamer, that's the last thing you care about. You're just trying to make a quick buck off some bigger schmuck than yourself. So in that case, how's QORPO Confliction look from an investment perspective? Unfortunately for us, the QORPO token doesn't actually exist yet, but if it ever does, it'll allegedly empower the community and fuel B2B solutions. Looks like as a QORPO coin holder, you're offered a return on investment in the form of profit sharing. Sure sounds like an unregistered security to me, but considering the company is headquartered in Dubai, I don't think US security laws apply. QORPO offers a white paper document for users to learn more about their ecosystem, team, coin, games, and whatever else they feel like putting here. Pretty much every crypto game offers one of these white paper documents, even though they're usually filled to the brim with irrelevant information and blatant lies. This game's white paper is profoundly uninteresting, but it does explain that QORPO tokens will not be available in countries with securities laws regarding crypto tokens. So, good thing they've got that covered. Also, it's riddled with typographical errors, the funniest of which being the misspelling of white paper as white paper. But who the hell is QORPO anyway? QORPO is a Dubai-based company legally, but their offices are physically located in Slovakia. Why? According to their white paper, QORPO is working with its legal partners so that it can comply with regulations from around the world and avoid any possible lawbreaking. QORPO has had several consultations with authorities and commission, and it can receive required documents in order to achieve its goal. That is why QORPO has established a company in Dubai. Does that help clear things up? No? QORPO's team page features a lovely menagerie of headshots, highlighting the company's experienced staff. Nobody in the C-suite has a lick of experience in game development, and their resumes consist solely of banks or crypto companies. Climb a bit lower on the totem pole, and you'll find their head of Unreal Engine, who graduated college in 2022, making this his very first job. Following this trend, their lead game designer has a similar level of experience, also taking the college to lead dev pipeline. As far as I can tell, neither of these folks have ever even worked on a commercially available game prior to this one, let alone any games at all. Has anyone at this company even played a game before? What about the game director? Oh, phew, thank God. I was almost worried for a second, but we're in good hands. This is the guy that made the 3D model for the UFO in Lil Dicky's Pillow Talking music video, and they spelled talking wrong. While sifting through whatever documents I could find hidden on their website, I struck gold. In this Terms of Service agreement, they mention something called IOI tokens. Specifically, if you're caught violating their rules, they reserve the right to deduct IOI tokens from your account. But what are IOI tokens? After a bit of research, it looks like the IOI token was sold to investors to fundraise $1.8 million for a game called Trade Race Manager. This sale ended in 2021, and while IOI tokens still exist, Trade Race Manager does not. If only I had bought these tokens in 2021, I'd be a millionaire by now. Nah, I'm just kidding. The tokens have fallen 99% in value since launch. My curiosity piqued. I tried my hardest to find any information about this Trade Race Manager game, but had little success. This is because they've deactivated all of the game's social media accounts, removed the app from the Google Play Store, and deleted all gameplay videos. The Trade Race Manager website itself still exists, but it has nothing but a bunch of crypto babble without any substance. There's a roadmap for a sequels development named Trade Race Manager 2, of course, but it looks like it's been abandoned since this was supposed to be delivered in 2022. Despite Trade Race Manager being scrubbed from the internet, we can see that the NFTs they sold for the game still exist. You can currently buy and sell them on the QORPO marketplace, but all mentions of the game they originate from have been removed. Was there ever even an official announcement of Trade Race Manager 2 being canceled? From everything I can find, it doesn't look like it, but then again, all Trade Race Manager's social media accounts were deleted, so maybe that's where the announcement went. Why didn't they just leave the social media accounts active and then pin a post saying, hey, the game was canceled, look here for what we're working on next? That would have actually been less work than going back and deleting everything they ever posted. All things considered, it's pretty disingenuous that in 2021, they literally said, become rich with Trade Race Manager NFTs. So this was like the main selling point of NFTs in gaming, right? When the game shuts down, you can take your items with you and use them in other games because you own them. Only problem is, with the game shut down and no games supporting the assets, your item is now less useful than legitimately any physical object. It's now up to QORPO to decide if they want to re-implement the old NFTs in their new games. There's nothing legally requiring them to do this though. They're completely free to just pretend those old NFTs don't exist. But as of now, it seems like these Trade Race Manager NFTs are not supported by any playable games. Digging a bit further, I found an old press release from 2022 made by QORPO. In this article, they talk about Cybertrade, Trade Race Manager 2, and Crypto Citizen, which is a fighting and racing game. Wait, Crypto Citizen? Cybertrade? Oh, my head's spinning. This is so confusing. Pretty standard for a crypto game. Based on this article, it seems that Citizen Conflict was originally pitched as a racing and fighting game at the time of their first NFT release. But just like with Trade Race Manager, all detailed information on this previous iteration is nowhere to be found. I could only find one conversation in the official QORPO Discord regarding this previous NFT project, Cybertrade. In this example, a player expresses their concerns to the dev team, saying that they had bought the NFTs after reading the game's original white paper, which they so kindly attached to their message. They're basically upset because they bought hundreds of dollars of NFTs based on the promise that the game would be a fighting and racing metaverse, and now they're upset because all mentions of that original metaverse have been deleted, and what they got instead was a Lyra asset flip that doesn't support their NFTs. So let's look at this old white paper that they attached. Cybertrade. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. These guys couldn't come up with an original idea if their lives depended on it. This white paper, which is no longer available on the internet, explains how NFTs can be used in an upcoming game that has 3 distinct parts: drag racing, street fighting, and an open-world AAA metaverse, of course. Using the Wayback Machine, we can take a look at the now deleted Cybertrade website to see the blatant cyberpunk ripoff in all its glory. Looks like there were actually a variety of NFTs sold for this non-existent game, including vehicle and fighter NFTs, some of which people spent hundreds of dollars on. But currently, these items do absolutely nothing, and the only thing holders have is a vague promise that they will get their old NFTs swapped for ones in the new game. While I guess they play this off as a rebrand, it seems to be a little bit more than that. I think this can be better described as the cancellation of their previous project, followed by the creation of a new, far less ambitious project. And I haven't even mentioned the 2 completely separate games that QORPO also has in development. The first one is advertised as an Illuvium competitor. Great, we got crypto games ripping off other crypto games now. The other game is called Egos, no relation to the waffles. Looks like it's probably going to be some sort of Fall Guys ripoff, but there's no gameplay footage, so the best we can do is dream. So, what is all of this? Is this just some convoluted scam? Well, I think it's kind of sketchy. I don't think there's enough evidence for me to make a claim as bold as calling it a scam. This is just a dime a dozen crypto game, haphazardly selling assets for a project with no solid goal and then making drastic changes or canceling it entirely as soon as interest dies off. In the end, this is all just more proof that you should never invest in any of these crypto games. The entire industry is rotten to the core with scams, rug pulls, and dishonest people, and based on the crypto games I've reviewed recently, it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. So my concluding opinions are as follows. Citizen Conflict is a dog shit Lyra clone with a strong focus on loot boxes. The developers have created 5 projects in 3 years while successfully launching 0 finished games. Players purchased the NFTs expecting Citizen Conflict to be a cyberpunk racing and fighting game, but then all mentions of the original plans were removed from the internet. Even if they do compensate NFT owners by giving them items in the new game, it goes against the entire principle of NFTs in gaming, which was to make it so that game developers couldn't screw over players. Ironically, crypto has only made it easier than ever for developers to run away with people's money. Pair this up with the ease of creating visually appealing video games thanks to modern game engines, and you've got the next best way to get rich quick. It's been a while since I did a video in this format, and it really brought me back to my roots. But with my audience having grown so much in the past few months, how many of you are still interested in these deep dives into specific crypto games? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today. This video was made possible thanks to the generous support of the Bag Holders Club, as well as donations on my Ko-fi page. Thanks again for your unwavering support, even though John Coin has now reached another all-time low, 9 millionths of a cent. Goodbye.